What's happening, everybody? Welcome back. This is Forgo, and today we're going to see how well Diane does in the Immortal Dungeons, since she actually will have the type advantage against the Immortal Rahk, which showed up today. And my Diane is at level 40. I was actually pretty lucky, and whenever I bought the KOF pass, I ended up getting a couple memories for the 7 Deadly Sins characters, and Diane was one of them. So I was actually able to level her up to level 40, which is really great. But I have no capsules at all on her, so keep that in mind. She does have the super armor, which is really nice. And it's an interrupt skill, which is going to make sure that you don't get interrupted. And then her second skill has the stun, which is going to be useless in this run, but it is good in PvP game modes or when you're facing opponents where your stun will actually apply. Your stun will apply to the boss in Immortal Dungeons. And then the increased attack by 45% defenses is amazing. And we've already tested this girl, and we know that the defensive stones are the best for her. Those are the best stones you definitely want to put on her. You don't want to put attack stones. The defensive stones will do more attack. And you definitely want to run with the KS set or the Athena set. This set here, if you have it, they're absolutely amazing on this character. Now, a crux of Diane is her 3PG is kind of like it when it starts. None of the other characters are really attacking, and it's actually kind of short. In all honesty, her 3PG feels a little bit short, and her default, it's okay, but I really wish her 3PG and her default were a little bit longer. I think that's something that hurts her. But something that you should keep in mind is, even though she's a red fighter, you could actually use her against Immortal most, and the reason being is she does get this deal additional damage equal to 150% of attack to the target when attacking a stunned enemy. Now, her stun will not apply to the Immortal Dungeon, but against the Immortal Most, whenever you do dot explosion to Immortal Most, he actually becomes stunned. So this 150% damage will apply. So she's going to actually be doing more damage to him. Now, she won't have a type advantage or disadvantage. Only blue will have the disadvantage against Immortal Most, and yellow will have the type advantage. But it is something to keep in mind that you could actually probably use her for that. I mean, she does have a level 10 affinity, which is really where you want it. That way you get all the maximum attack stats and, of course, get your rubies. Eventually, I'll take her up to level 15, so that way I can get these souls, so I can exchange them in the exchange shop for tokens. Cores are completely unlocked. And when you go into the Immortal Rahk here, I mean, this guy really is, in my opinion, either the hardest or definitely one of the hardest pain in the asses to deal with. This guy is freaking ridiculous. But what I decided to do, and I've run with all kinds of multiple teams, and since we did that tier list in the past video, I wanted to show you guys why BS Orochi, why I think maybe he really should be on Triple S tier, but definitely mine Rugal are on Triple S tier. But we are running with K because we want that PG rate leadership, and that will apply to Diane and Rachel. And Rachel's a free character that we got from the 7 Nights collab. For those of you that are starting out this game, you started whenever the 7 Deadly Sins characters came into this game, you could easily switch out Rachel for Neskio, Mr. Karate. I mean, those will be some really good candidates. The Rahk, I mean, you probably don't have the Rahk if you came in here during the 7 Deadly Sins collab, and Harumaru would be the same situation because both of those characters are actually collabs. But if you did start in this game during the 7 Deadly Sins collab, Mr. Karate and Neskio would actually be really good choices because you want to apply burn on your first team. Now, Karate doesn't have burn, but he has a great 3PG, he has 30% PG rate, and with K's leadership, he has 50% PG rate, and he has the type advantage against Rahk, and you will find on the first team, he actually can survive a lot better than what he can on the second team. On the second team, he can die pretty freaking easy. The boss just starts doing a lot more damage, and one of the reasons I thought that BS Orochi might belong on that Triple S tier is because, I mean, guys, look, he applies the PG rate by 20% to all boss fighters. And think about who all those characters are. Karate, Ignis, Pretty Zero, Zero, BS Rugal, 97 Orochi. I mean, there's a lot of characters that are very, very strong that leadership will apply to. And that, my friends, is massive. Now, as far as the builds, I'm not going to run through all the builds. K is completely maxed out. capsules. He has a Chaos set on him. Actually, I'm sorry. Actually, he has the Athena set on him. My bad. And I definitely like to run with this 5PG. I tried this 3PG so many times, and I always do less damage. And of course, Diane has the Chaos set on her. And Rachel here, I'm actually using the Akane set. She has max imprint stones, but she does have 1 PG rate stone, and that is so we can get more PG rate. Rachel doesn't have any PG rate in her core. So with Kay's leadership, that's only 20% PG rate. So with this imprint stone on her, the increased power charge rate by 8%, she's actually going to have 28% PG rate, which really helps. And she can cancel skills super fast. That's one thing about Diane that kind of sucks is her first and third skill you can cancel pretty quick, but her second skill's kind of got to play out a little bit. So you're not running through your skills as fast, which means you're not really dealing as much damage as fast, and you're not really building up your PG as fast as what you really want to. As far as BS Orochi, max stones, KS set, I have the KS set to really increase his survivability, jacking up his defenses. And then my Akane set, max imprint stones, and then Rugal, max imprint stones, and we're just running the Serena set. Now the Serena set, I just left it on him because why not? We will get an extra 34% extra attack, but all these extra bonuses, the increased attack by additional 15% for 10 seconds and gain 10% power when tagging in, will not apply here because we're not tagging in. And I could easily hit 500 million with this team. Now, I realize that the second team is OP, right? We got 2 BS characters and 1 SS character. But I'm pretty well betting that after the 7 Deadly Sins collab, Orochi here and Rugal will be coming back. After the 7 Knights collab, it was a week to 2 weeks, I can't really remember, afterwards when they brought in the BS characters. And I'm pretty sure after the 7 Deadly Sins collab, they'll drain all of our rubies, and they'll probably bring these characters right back. It won't be SS. SS is going to come later, but they're going to bring back these characters. And the SS characters will also come back. They're going to bring back memories for all of those characters, so we're going to be able to level them up. And in all honesty, guys, Immortal Rahk is so hard. You don't have to use BS characters, but I tell you what, man, it really makes your life a whole lot easier. So let's jump into the action and let's rock and roll. So Diane is a really cool character in all honesty. I mean, she does have 15% PG rate in her core, which is pretty nice, especially with Kay, since he has that 20% PG rate leadership, giving her 35% PG rate. And if you did put a PG stone on Diane, she would build up her 3 PG a lot faster. However, I would not recommend it. I wouldn't. Because her second skill takes a little bit to cancel, I think you're just better off running with all 7 Deadly Sins stones. I don't think putting a PG stone on her is really a good idea. I think having just the extra attack, the extra defense to bump up her attack is going to be a lot better. And as always with these runs, you know, Kay, you just want to make sure you're running through his 5PG. Now, Immortal Rahk has this weird hitbox where if you're down below or above him a little bit, you're going to miss him. And yeah, it really is a pain. So you want to make sure when you're, whatever character you're playing with, especially if it's Kay, you want to make sure you're in front of Immortal Rahk whenever you're fighting. And you see how that 3PG is? It's just really short. It's not very long. I really wish they would have gave her a longer animation. I think that would have really bumped up her stocks in all honesty. I mean, Diane's going to be a good PvP character. But as far as PvE, I mean, she's decent and obviously she can put in work. Actually, if I had her on the second team, she would actually put in quite a bit of work because she would, you know, have that super armor, right? And the super armor actually removes the poison from the boss when attacked. And that really helps because it will actually increase your damage to the boss. So that is something to keep in mind. And Diane does have a lot of survivability. I mean, in all honesty, she's got a pretty cool core where she decreases damage received by 70% for 3 seconds. When attacked, if HP is 50% or more, she becomes immune to damage for 3 seconds when attacked if HP is 49% or less on a 15-second cooldown. Both of those are actually on 15-second cooldowns. I mean, she's got a lot of tankiness, and that's something that's really nice about her. So when you're playing with other characters, you don't have to worry so much about Diane dying. And Immortal Rahk does a tremendous amount of damage to these characters, even though these characters have the type advantage the red does, man, I mean, you could just see the bars melting off of them. And that's really why I have the Athena set on K to decrease his damage received by 60% when he gets to a certain amount of HP. And you look at his life. I mean, it's drained so much. By the way, Rachel, another thing that's awesome about her is her tankiness is just insane. And like Diane, she can play on auto, and you don't have to really worry about her dying. Now, here what I'm trying to do is I'm just really trying to switch between all these characters. I'm not worried about Maisie so much because she actually has a decreased damage received on her third skill. And the BS characters do have the 30% decreased damage received when attacked from their stone, but 30% really isn't a whole lot, especially for someone like Rugal, who's an attack type character. I mean, he's still going to take a lot of damage. But because of BS Orochi's leadership, Rugal's got 50% PG rate right now, and BS Orochi has 50% PG rate. They both have super long 3 PGs, which is why they're really goths. Now, whenever you play with Rugal, you don't want to use his default. You'll notice that I'll keep playing with Rugal, right? I haven't tagged him out. I'm going to keep playing with him to build up his 3 PG and then switch to the next character after his 3 PG is ready. So now I'm going to switch. And Maisie, the beautiful thing about Maisie is her imprint stone. She has 30% PG rate. Well, there's a lot of beautiful things about her, actually. But she has a 30% PG rate in her core, but she also gets 15% PG rate from her stone. So even though she's not benefiting from BS Orochi's leadership, she's not a boss fighter, she still has native 45% PG rate. And she has the type advantage. So Maisie is actually a god in this game mode. And, I mean, really the number one character for Immortal Rahk. Or really, in my opinion, the number one character in the game, in my opinion, especially for PvE. Not really PvP, but definitely damn strong in PvP as well. And I mean, yeah, and now we just switch to Rugal, and you can see his 3PG is cooling down. And since Orochi's doing his 3PG, we went ahead and we could use other characters. Now we got Rugal. And also, if you might notice, what I'm doing is sometimes with Orochi and Rugal, I'm actually guarding. I actually just sit there and guard because Immortal Rahk can do so much damage to us. And while someone's doing their 3PG, while BS Orochi's doing his 3PG, or BS Rugal's doing his 3PG, sometimes I'll hit the guard on either Orochi or Rugal, depending on which character's doing their 3PG animation. Maisie, I don't do it at all, again, because she has a type advantage, she has a decreased damage received on her third skill, so I'm not really too worried about her. Maisie actually is very tanky and can do this with relative ease. There you just saw me, I just built up a 3PG, we switched to the next character. Another thing about all these characters, the SS characters and the BS characters, is you can spam their awakened skills for 13 seconds versus 10 seconds on the other characters. I mean, yeah. I mean, I think Diane is definitely going to be a benefit for a lot of players, in all honesty. And I think she might even be useful against Immortal most because of that stun, because she will be able to do more damage because of that. But I don't know if I think she's the best for this. I mean, she's okay, she's decent, but I don't think she's the best. I mean, I think there's other characters that are really better in my honest opinion. But, I mean, we were able to get this done with about 15, 14 seconds left. It was pretty freaking easy. And this is a team that I would use to consistently get that 500 million. A lot of other teams that I would use, I would have to do this over and over and over and over before I would hit that 500 million marker, which can be extremely aggravating considering how long you have to play this game mode. Some people are on time restrictions and they just don't want to do that, or they're just impatient. They just want to get through it, kind of like me. So all in all, I think Diane's a very good character. Should you pull for her? I mean, in that same banner, you're going to have King and Merlin. So, I mean, yeah, you should pull for her because you have a chance of getting King and Merlin. And they are freaking top tier, in my opinion. But I don't think Diane is on the same tier as them. I don't think she's as good as them. But she's still a respectfully good character. So let me know how you're all feeling about Diane. And let me know what teams you're using for Immortal Rahk. And I do stream on Twitch at 9 p.m. GMT plus 7 times, Sunday through Thursday. The link will be in the description below. And I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching. Y'all take care and have a good one.